medicine woman who's ridden out her own dark night of the soul through divorce and complete disillusion of life as she knew it. And as with any initiation, this experience just prepared her now to support you, to walk through the fire alongside you, and to work through any issue or challenge by shamanically unwinding the brambles of family and lineage trauma and unlocking the practical solutions that have been hidden from you. She's originally from Slovakia and now lives in San Francisco Bay Area with her life partner on life purpose and with puppies.
Yeah, I love the puppies. Oh, thank you so much. You know, the puppies, that's kind of like, I got them from
Beautiful puppies. I've seen
that's the inheritance from my ex-husband.
Yeah.
The kind of like reminder, oh my God, they just keep going. Just like you. So
yeah.
So
and together, and she and her partner are empowering people financially and inspiring other heart-centered entrepreneurs to align their businesses to a new paradigm of 5D consciousness. So she has 2 healthy, sovereign thinking children, Magdalena, who's 19, and Mateo, who's 15, whom she's raising in harmony with her former husband. And that says a lot for where you are with that, just that harmony that you're able to work with the former partner and create that peace and beautiful upbringing for them. And Klara, would you tell us a little more about how you work with entrepreneurs to help them resolve these multi-generational and past life traumas so that they can be more successful in their businesses?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I am conscious entrepreneur myself, right? I was always a healing practitioner. I used to be a homeopath. And as a homeopath and healer, I was helping people on emotional and physical and mental level, like finding a remedy that would take care of them holistically. And I found out that I had very good results with some clients. And then some clients, they had good results, the remedy would work, but they would come back, and they would come back every month, you know? And so I started really wondering, like, what is it, you know, how is it happening that they cannot just break through permanently? Like, what is holding them?
What's the root issue that's keeping that
structure? Yeah. And then what happened was I went through a divorce. I went through like the dark night. I discovered that my own family actually had dynamics that I wasn't able to break through easily. And my homeopath that was actually treating me introduced me to family constellations. And so I went to a session with people in the room that I have never met. And they would be put in the positions of our family members with my ex-husband. And in about 10 minutes, they played out our whole life. So all the problems in our relationship and where they started. They showed us the traumas, where it all started, right? And then what happened was, you know, it helped me to realize that it wasn't me. It wasn't me that was creating like all this trouble. And it gave me tools and ways to deal with it, because now I understood the whole big picture. And so I started going into trainings about systemic constellations, which look at multigenerational trauma and how it affects your life. And as a conscious entrepreneur, I ran, you know, after divorce, I had to start making more money. I had to put myself out there. So now it was like serious. I didn't have my husband taking care of me. So all the problems in the business still, even after the divorce, they still had to do with the family dynamics. And as I was going through life, I just saw like, wow, like this thing really catches up with us on every level. Is
It does.
health, it's relationships, and it's our career. And
Yeah.
so, I worked for a long time with divorcees because that's what I was very, very interested about. Like while I was going through divorce, I wanted to understand all the dynamics and how to help our family too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when that was done and over and everything actually was pretty peaceful. Like we never had to go through judges. I'm talking about a narcissistic husband who wants everything his way.
Mm-hmm.
Like through doing this work, I was able to help us to do it peacefully. Of course,
That's
they were
incredible. That's incredible.
we had like huge conflicts through it, but everything like just happened peacefully at the end, like doing this work, really focusing more on myself, like what can I heal in me and in my lineage. And it kind of allowed him to be semi-calm and peaceful. And, as a matter of fact, we actually lived separate for over 6 years. And just a year ago, we switched houses. So we both have new partners. And we both decided, hey, I think I would like your house better. It would be better for me. I like this house better because it's bigger and I work from home. And he wanted the other house because he has new babies and he wanted them to go to schools there. So instead of like having to sell our houses and go through, we just switched. So
beautiful.
That's huge.
Beautiful.
That's huge. And so after that, I started focusing on business, and I saw how all of these dynamics affect business, and that's where I'm most passionate right now. So I have a group of conscious entrepreneurs that meet every week, and we help our businesses by looking at the big picture, where we came from. So,
and I'll post the link to Klara's group in the comments below this Facebook Live so that anybody can access it and join and see what she has to offer, because she's phenomenal, as you're going to see in these demonstrations that Elizabeth and Jessica have so bravely chosen to come forward and be in this process with us.
Yes, thank you so much, both of you, and we connected before so that we can go right in. And we wanted this to be just demonstrations, not the whole session, but I'm very committed to transform as much as I can, because I'm basically a healer, so I can't leave things unfinished. So that's the holistic side of me. So
yes, and I've seen when I've experienced Klara's demonstrations, the short ones, as well as witnessing the longer process via a call like this that she did with my husband Michael, which was an incredible experience and uncovered a lot of past life stuff that we'd already seen the trauma part of it come up in our sessions, and then but there was a dynamic that just hadn't really popped in, and that was the link between the financial part of it, the abundance part, and how this trauma had actually occurred because in these past lives then the family had been wealthy, and so that shut this down. So it was really, really powerful. Just that awareness created that shift in energy. So that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So in Constellations, we really just look at the bigger picture. So there are a few things that I would like to mention. So today, we want to talk a little bit about how those dynamics affect the love life. So even though in my daily life, I focus on the business, it's still very similar. So we want to look at love life today. And so, there are many dynamics that will carry over from our ancestors to the next generation. Basically, everything that is unfinished emotionally or energetically unfinished, the next generations will have to deal with that. Plus, there are some dynamics that literally invite trouble, you know, in our families. Like we will often be in a trance working this out. So they were not properly finished, completed, processed. Many times different members of the family will be acting out on them. And so that's something that that will probably show up today in the demonstrations. Another thing I wanted to say is that one of the most important systemic principles is that in the family, everyone belongs. Everyone belongs, and everyone has a space, their special placement. And that's why we call them family constellations, like planets, like placements, right? And so these orders are actually very important, and sometimes they get confused. So when children have to grow up early because they are expected to behave as adults, there will be confusion, right? Or let's say a woman has abortions or miscarriages, and now she has a child. That child will be raised as if they were first, but they may be second, third, fourth, which makes a huge difference. What else? When people are like, there were times, I think like 50, 100 years ago, if someone was insane in the family, they would lock them up in an insane asylum and no one would talk about them. So they would be literally rejected and the family would be ashamed of them and so on. So when that happens, like the next generation, someone in the family, out of love, because we always love each other no matter how bad we are, you know, that's something that is really really challenging for people to understand. No matter how bad we are, there is love in the family, between the family members. And so someone in the next generation will often suffer depression or with suicidal tendencies because the ancestor has been rejected. So another things that show up in the family, if they were let's say there something terrible happened, like there was a perpetrator and a victim in the same family. Often the next generation, someone in the next generation will try to align the terrible event by becoming schizophrenic. So all these diseases, or let's look in business. Like if you had abortion, since we are here women and we can speak about these things, abortions and miscarriages, very often we don't share them with the community. We do not grieve these lost children. And what happens often is that unconsciously we carry a guilt, and then we do not allow ourselves to succeed. So we have one foot on the pedal and another foot on the brakes, right? And it goes something like this, like, how could I ever be happy and have an easy life if my child couldn't even do anything, couldn't even, have a childhood and enjoy your siblings. So we will punish ourselves unconsciously, and this is a biggie. That if any one of you has been having trouble with money, miscarriages, abortions, even in your, it could be your mother's or your grandmother's, they can greatly affect our success. Another important dynamic is in relationships, attachment to our mother. So if there was some difficult trauma in the attachment to our mothers, we will often have difficulties to attach to our partners, to our love partners. So, these traumas with our mothers and difficult relationships with them, I think many women deal with that. I had quite a difficult relationship with my mom myself due to trauma. My brother died when I was 10 years old, and my mom proclaimed that she has no children because she lost the only son, the boy. And so she said that she has no children anymore, even though she had 2 more girls. And that affected us in a big way. And then because of the trauma, my father was not able to show up as a man. He was emasculated. He couldn't be intimate with my mom anymore. And my mom took on a lover and was pretty open with that everywhere, like open and not open. She never spoke about it, but she was doing it in front of our eyes. And that was, as a teenager, that was really hurtful. And I was really, really mad at her. And it took me a long time to overcome that. I couldn't talk to my mom for many years because of that. She even brought her lover to my wedding. And so one thing that I would like you all to tune into is like, how is your relationship with your mom? Because one dynamic that we look at often in constellations is that our first significant partner, or our first marriage often is as if we married our mother. Dynamically, we are working out the relationship with our mother. And that's exactly what happened to me. I married someone who cheated in front of me, like in my face. And it took me a long time to process it, to get over because it hit the wound with my mom. And beautifully, actually, once I stepped into that pain and allowed it, my mom returned back to my life. She literally started calling me and supporting me after 10 years not even talking to me.
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
Yeah, huge initiation. And I know, like most of people on your group, like we are older, right? Not as young, right? So I bet that many of us went through huge realizations as we matured and married and divorced.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Through relationships, right? And as we are going through that, I bet many of you are realizing like how many things from your childhood or from the relationship of your parents show up in your love life. So yeah, so that's a little bit of theory. I don't know if there are any questions before we start. This goes very fast. So
Yeah. And I haven't seen any questions on either the Facebook Live or this group yet.
Okay, great. So
there's one. One says, Jessica says, I played out my mother wound with my first husband, and I'm still doing it with my second husband.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? We, in ways, if we don't look at family constellation just as like a DNA and the ancestry, if we look also at our soul families, and that we come to earth to learn something, and that we have agreements with these people to learn something, I believe that we are all healers, that we all come to be in ways of support of the evolution of the human consciousness. And I truly believe it about villains as well. And you know what, villains wouldn't be there if we didn't have also heroes. And
Yes.
so those three, you know, we acted out all the time. Like, look at movies, look at mythology.
Yes.
We are trapped in those three. And I was just recently, there was someone, a facilitator, I don't know his name now, I'm sorry, but he was talking about how, you know, like right now I want to like touch something controversial, like the topic of patriarchy, you know.
Can I just jump in here? Elizabeth says on the mother topic, her relationship with her mother was always bad. They didn't talk for years, and later on too. So they were barely speaking when her mother passed. So that's an unresolved issue there.
Yes, and probably goes back generations back too. You know. So in my family, my mom had a terrible relationship with her mom, and also her mom, my grandmother, had 9 sisters and 1 brother, and that 1 brother died when he was 20. And so it was all just women during the era when, you know, boys were much more important. And so that was like a big trauma. And then it repeated in my family when my brother died as a 20-year-old. So just imagine like the anxiety. You know, my son is now 16. And as he is getting, even when my daughter like turned 18 and 19, there's like this anxiety, this fear that is being triggered in my body. Yes, so that's something I will have to ask you to help me with eventually. I think we talked about it once. So I'm going to Costa Rica, maybe we can.
Yay, I can't wait.
Because see, like the moment my daughter was 18, 19, she wanted to travel. And that's what happened to my brother. Like the first time he left home, he went skiing and there was a fire accident and he exploded.
Wow.
So it was like very, you know. And so my daughter went and traveled the world last summer. I couldn't sleep for 3 months, man. she had a blast, you know, Thailand and Germany, you know, for 3 months. I couldn't sleep.
That trauma that's in the body is so real, and it puts us into a fight or flight response when those anxieties come up, right? So
totally intense. So it's a continual work. I just want to say, like, there is no like one magic pill, you know. It's a continual work, because as I said, like, we came here to learn and also to heal and also to help the universal consciousness or the human consciousness evolve together. So one thing I wanted to share about the patriarchy, because I had a huge discovery in my group a couple of weeks ago, was that, you know, we blame it a lot on man, and we we are not conscious about how women participate in that, right? And so I think that's something we need to really like get together and help each other to shift the whole human consciousness. And so there was one discovery, and it helped me very much with understanding like why my husband cheated so much. What we discovered is that, you know, when men went to wars, like just think of World War I or World War II, like we see pictures when the war started, how women are like, you know, celebrating the soldiers are going to war, the hero is going, right? So the hero is going to war, and everyone like thinks, okay, you know, they look so hot because they're going to protect us, right? They love us, they protect us. So there's a lot of passion about that. And when they go, often, you know, war is not not that heroic. Like they often get a ton of trauma, and they come back with this trauma and have trouble to integrate. And often they come so wounded, they go into behaviors like boys again, right? So they start looking back to their partners and wives as a mother to save them.
Yeah.
And so we send out hero, and we got this wounded child back, right? And meanwhile, also, while they're gone and not protecting you, women also went through rapes, through horrendous trouble, they had to take care of their family and so on, have been attacked, had to figure out everything on their own. And so when he comes and now he cannot support her, they're pissed, right? They're angry.
Yes.
Like, I finally waited for you to come and give your support, and now you cannot, right? And now poor you, and we as women, we take over, right? Because we have to.
Yes.
We have to for the family, you know? And so then the only, not the only, but the common way for the man to feel manly again, you know, is momentarily outside. Like they often start cheating in these dynamics because they can feel like a man for a moment. They cannot take care of the family and of the wife. It's too much, right? But for moments they can show up in their masculinity. And I realized this talking to someone who has done a lot of work on themselves. He's a relationship coach, and he is from an African country. And so it came all out in his constellation, like looking like how much the man have been dragged through many wars. A lot of wars in Africa, and the same in a lot of wars in Europe, a lot of wars in South America, you know. I'm convinced now that these dynamics, like when it's so common in a culture, like many South American countries, many African countries, is because of the wars that are being still unresolved, and our heroes that are not being seen properly, and also our women not being acknowledged, right?
Yeah. And with the African American descent people, with the slavery in that they were under, and they again were unable to protect or support their families. They had no control.
Yes.
And
emasculating.
Emasculated.
And they had to do like work at home, you know, like they became in this constellation, the great grandfather has been kidnapped into slavery and become like as a boy, only 10 years old, and had to do homework like inside the house, you know, which is like totally emasculating to them. And so then next generations, you know, this person realized like, I don't know anyone in my family who had a happy marriage. Everyone cheated. The love was always outside the marriage.
Yeah.
And so this is something that we have to heal collectively. And very often, you know, we will like blame men for that. And yes, they have responsibility, of course, because they're aware, you know, of their action. But I just want to, you know, speak it because I really care about it. Like I had my husband, big cheater, and there's many reasons why I'm pissed at him, you know?
Yeah. Well, but awareness is the first step to creating healing. So it is important to create that awareness. And if you can share it, rather than each woman having to learn this on their own, the shared wisdom is beautiful and it's powerful.
Yes. And so blame doesn't take us anywhere. We have to look at the big picture, and together, when we are doing these gatherings, that's what's so beautiful about family constellations. I actually didn't explain like where they started. The founder of this work, his name is Bert Hellinger from Germany, and he used to be a missionary with the Zulus in South Africa. And he was watching them, how they did healing of the whole community. They would gather together and also consult the ancestors with the help of the shaman. They understood that whatever was unfinished in the past would be still having effect on our lives now. And so when someone committed a crime or someone was ill, they looked at everything as a whole. And that's something that we often don't do anymore, like we have all the specialists now, like most like doctors focus on you. They do not look at everything. And so, for example, diseases like cancer, they're often, trying to rebalance their whole family system about something big that happened in the past. Like we had one case where there was a lady that had cancer, and her whole ancestry, only her mom and dad met in the concentration camp and escaped. But their family, even their wives, like previous wives, and like previous wife and previous husband, children, and all the grandparents all died.
Yeah,
so now she becomes the child of this family. That trauma will, it will call for attention. It will call for attunement. And so the cancer, yes, like it will kill this person eventually, but okay, many times people heal also, right? And they also have spontaneous healings. But the very many times the cancer comes as a healing agent. Even though it can kill you, it comes as a healing agent in the whole family system, the bigger system, right? So so that's a lot of talking. See, like the time is going fast. All right, so that's a start. And any questions? Yes, forgiveness it's very important. But see, like forgiveness just from, forgiving, not really understanding, we didn't really integrate the whole lesson.
Yeah, the wisdom hasn't been brought in.
Yes. So that's why, like what you do, Freya, right? Like you connect the body and the trauma. Like while you do the process, there is this whole wisdom. And so when you clear, I imagine these repetitions of these kind of traumas don't have to show up anymore, because it's complete and the lesson is learned.
Yes.
The bigger lesson is learned.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that people who caused the trauma are not responsible. I just want to make sure that everyone gets it. Like, I'm not blaming victims here.
No, and it's not even that person might even deserve the forgiveness. It's integrating the wisdom and then creating the forgiveness within for yourself, so that you have the peace and that you can heal, not for the other person.
Yeah, so it starts for me, the forgiveness always starts with getting complete, and also finding compassion, finding the bigger picture, where I see like how the dynamics played us or how did we play them out.
Yeah, and when you're doing that, in that process, part of that is releasing all of the trauma and the emotions that were created in the body because of those things happening, or because of whatever that person did in your life, and fully experiencing and expressing it, allowing that, and then the wisdom can integrate and the healing can occur.
Yes, and nobody can just tell you, hey, you should forgive so you can be in peace. It's but
it's a process.
Trauma images coming over and over, like I had all these women, like over 40 women, and many of them were my good friends, betrayed me with my husband, so their faces and they flash in front of you when you are not inviting them. Is that re-traumatizing. And so until you know, like for me, that was like a big lesson, not only about, it wasn't actually only about my mother. It wasn't only about my ex-husband. It actually was also about my relationship to other women. And so they had to trigger me so much that I had to look at my relationship to other women. And I was someone who called myself tomboy before, you know, and would look at women that looked pretty, kind of like, whatever, she just wants to show off and blah, blah, blah. Like I had all these judgments and projections, you know, because we are so programmed into that. For example, like we watch commercials, women are always objectified, but it's not that they're objectified only by men. We start objectifying them from early age on. So what I discovered was when I was like 5 years old, I would play cards with my dad, like for money, like in, you know, like we were in a pub, like a outside pub. So in Slovakia, you can drink in front of children, is fine. So they were drinking beer, men drinking beer, and we were playing cards, you know. And every time the outside pub was at the lake, so women were walking by in bikini, you know. So every time someone walks by, they all look, you know, and comment. And I was a 5-year-old little girl, and you know, you just start listening to them and like, okay, they are looking, I'm looking, right? And then when I had to confront my shadow with women, that's where it went. It went to this 5-year-old girl that got confused. And out of love and alignment to these men, I took on their ways of thinking. And then you forget. And then you forget. And you constantly compare yourself with other women. You know, what does she have that I don't have? What could, you know, how does she look? And blah, blah, blah. Constantly like this critical voice. I'm sharing this because this is something very common that women have. And they do not want to admit it. So...
and we as women, we don't have each other's backs so many times. We don't have each other's backs, and like you say, they're criticizing the women who show up in their sexuality, and this is where the patriarchy comes in, because the patriarchy could not exist if women did not support it.
And I was looking at all the women, like when I went through that trauma with my ex, I thought that every woman wants to steal my husband. I thought every woman is a slut and a bitch and a prostitute, you know, and it became like so strong that I got like shocked, like, Klara, like this is just awful. Like everywhere you look, everywhere I looked, they were everywhere. In a restaurant or on the street, like, you know, like when you are pregnant, you see everyone pregnant. Or when you get a new car, you see the type of car everywhere. So I saw bitches and sluts and men stealers everywhere. It was just like horrendous. Hey, I went through that process. It's like next day they disappeared. I was like, where did all the bitches and prostitutes go? It's like, I can't look at women that way ever again.
No, because as soon as you integrate that part of you, that is exactly what you were hating in someone else. If you integrate that and integrate that shadow and love that part of you, then it goes like it doesn't bother you anymore. You don't see it.
It was really interesting. We actually did a shadow workshop with a friend of mine who is a hypnotherapist, and I was demonstrating, like, read these words, you know, stupid, idiot, loser, failure, womanizer. And I couldn't read the word. And so my friend is like, well, what Klara is trying to tell you, if you feel some trigger or you cannot even read the word womanizer, that is your shadow. And I was like, how could it be my shadow? And I would be like all red, you know, that can't be my shadow. I have a womanizer husband. I'm not a woman. I'm not even into women, you know. And then he was like, okay, so Klara is going to demonstrate how this works. When I got healed. So big one.
Yeah.
So let's go. Is it okay if we go over time, Freya?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we started a little later. So can we do maybe like 11:30?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like to give this woman enough attention and
Sure.
because they deserve it.
Let's go for it.
I also wanted to say that I really appreciate them, and the topics that we may be touching today may be a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone feels triggered today, the good thing is that we are on the computer. So protect yourself. You know, you can make the volume little softer. You can remove yourself for moments if it's too much. Just take care of yourself, especially if you have some traumas of abuse and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
And do feel free to reach out to one of us if it feels aligned for you, if things are coming up and bringing up for you.
Yes, yes. And also, like, if you watch later, you know, and we are not available, one thing that helps is, you know, salt baths, going into nature to release the energies that show up, like really go in the nature. You can touch trees and ask them to please take the energies from you. You can bow in front of the tree, and there are many techniques. So even after they can reach out, right?
Yes, and they can reach out to one of us afterwards as well. Are you open to that, Klara?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, perfect.
And then another thing is some of you may fall asleep. That happens in my sessions often. Even when I watch myself later, I sometimes get knocked out because of the energy work. Like it looks like it's very simple, it's slow, so be patient, but energy is running. So, you know, you shouldn't be watching this if you drive or operate machinery. So don't do that, please. Okay? All right. So then let's see. Whom should we start with, Freya? Do you know? Should we start with Jessica, maybe?
Yeah, that's actually who was coming up for me.
Okay. Okay. So we will unmute Jessica.
And I'm going to put my mute off. Put the mute on and take my camera off so they're just seeing you while this is. And I'll unmute and jump in if I need to ask you a question or something.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, feel free, you know, if you see some comments, you can speak them to the field, because all of us are actually part of this process. As I said,
yes,
community healing. And even though it's someone's own life or challenge, you will see that these topics are universal, and you will also benefit from observing and participating. So I would like to invite everyone also to set up your intention and let the process evolve and allow everything that shows up, just allow it, and we will move through it together. Okay, thank you. So Jessica, I unmute you now. Hello, dear.
Hi.
How are you so far?
I'm good.
Okay. So I was telling you that sometimes, you know, before we do this process, a lot shows up because the family knows, okay, something is going to happen now. So what would you like to look at today? And
sorry, of course,
my background, a little bit background that feels, you know, comfortable for you.
Okay. Sorry, my phone rang, of course, as soon as I got unmuted and somebody's leaving a message on my machine. So you know how the strange way the universe works.
Yes.
For me, I have a long history of sexual abuse, as does my mother. And I felt very abandoned and unprotected by my mother, as my mother did by her mother. And that's repeated. And I don't know a lot about my grandmother because that's kind of been shrouded in a lot of secrecy, but there was definitely hurt and pain there, but we don't know exactly. And all of that shows up in every area of my life, but especially relationships, like with my husband, relationship with my children, and relationship with myself.
Yes. Okay. And so how would you like to feel today? How would you know that the session was successful? What would shift? And it's usually something that you feel or perceive, what would shift?
Well, like when you talk about all of this and things that happen on a generational level and familial and how it goes back, and you look at that, I've always focused on healing myself.
Yes.
And what I've realized, I actually just said this to my mother in the last week, was that like, my healing is your healing, Mom, and your healing is my healing. And truly, like, it's like some synergy or something together. And it's much more powerful than now that we're allies in it, so to speak, versus when we were pitted against each other. And I just have this feeling like that there's this other level. Of course, there's my level, and there's her level, my work, and there's her work, but there's also the bigger picture, like of Me Too and of the collective and of women and standing up for women and in the family and it going back generations. So I feel like I mean, that just so resonates with me. The more you talk about it, I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. So I feel like I'd like to have more of a sense of peace with that and just explore it a little more.
Great. All right. So we will look at okay. Let's do this. Let's put all three of you in there. Let's put peace. And let's put the block, like what keeps you like close to love, I think you said when I did the intake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot of fear, and there's definitely anger. I've done work with Michael and Freya, and that I've just really started to be able to tap into my anger, and that's definitely there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see how we put it up. So once I start moving, I become a little more in tune. So let's just start. I will switch the camera so you can see me in the room. So as I said, like these constellations are often done in a group, but it became more and more difficult to bring people together. It's not as practical anymore. And, like people come late, they don't show. And so that type of setup like became more and more complicated to do. So I will, instead of using other participants, I will be using colorful markers. And you will choose colors for all of the elements. And so I will basically represent each element. And then the reason why I'm able to do it is I know that most of us in this group, we believe that everything is energy, right? So even if I represented a table, it would have certain energy, right? Even the non-living objects. So just, to clarify, I'm not like calling in some ghosts and nothing like that. I'm really just tuning into the morphogenic field of the family. And everyone can do that. It's not like I'm special. So actually, many times people who had no training come to these healing gatherings and they can feel the field. So just wanted to clarify. Okay, so please, Jessica, let's choose a color for you.
Blue.
You like this one?
I like the lighter blue, the turquoise.
The turquoise, okay, all right. That's for you. And where in the room would you be positioned?
In the middle.
On the carpet?
Yes.
Okay. And then could you choose one for your mother?
Yellow.
Yellow. This one?
Yes.
Okay. Where would she be?
Right below me.
Here below or?
Yeah, no, where you were first. Yeah.
Okay. There's your mother and your grandmother?
Green for her, and I would put her under my mother.
Okay.
But further away. Yeah.
Okay. Still on the carpet, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I would like you to choose one for peace.
Purple. The one on the bottom. Yes.
Okay. So where would peace be?
At the top.
Here?
Yes. On the carpet still.
Okay. There's peace. Okay, I think we will just do the issue, the block, you know, what's in the way to be in peace.
Fear.
Yeah, so would you like to choose fear? Or would you like to just use yeah, okay, let's go with fear. Which one?
I don't, what comes up for me now is that anger is definitely red. Like anger is there and anger is definitely red.
Okay, so let's take anger and fear.
Fear is black, maybe.
Okay, and where are they positioned?
I would put fear and anger on top of me, like touching me, but with some of the blue exposed.
Oh, like this?
Yes.
On top of you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I would like to start with your permission.
Yes.
And so you can state the intention one more time.
My intention is to look at the issue that I know goes back generations and to heal the mother wound that goes back generations in my family.
Okay. Thank you. I feel that there is something missing here. It's possibly the perpetrator.
That could be.
Yeah, I think I need to bring him out. Let's see. Yeah, now it feels more complete for me. Okay, let's see. So peace, I'm moving it outside the carpet. So how I feel from the perspective here is like I want to kill, go like that. and it is looking at the anger. So somehow these are connected. So I want to go. It's like killing with a knife. Let me see. And so, you know, as we move, things will make more sense. They are not right now. So this is your mom.
I definitely feel like I can tap into my anger a little bit more at my mother versus the perpetrator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably displaced. So, because if it's in the history, right, and it's coming through her, if it happened prior, it happened probably before your grandmother. It's all the way here. Can you see it there? No. So let's see. Yeah, so in a way, like he shows up here from the past, right? It's almost like the energy, you know? Like life will set you up for that to be possible, right? Like we always like wonder, like, how do these things happen? You know, like how come nobody saw it, nobody stopped it, right? It's just like the whole energetic setup makes it possible. So something happened in the past here. A murder, it really looks like a murder happened here. Wow, so the anger is really an anger of a victim that has been murdered. So
I know my grandmother's mother died. She was very sick. I think it was cancer. And she died, and my grandmother took care of her at a very young age, and I think there was a lot of blood. And then my grandmother was like, who was very smart and very talented, was taken out of school and put in the role to take care of the family and take care of the younger children.
Yeah. So the murder may have been, that would indicate that the murder happened even prior. So see, like if her mom got so sick, it's again identification with the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So something happened even prior to that. And so it also like shows like it's not on the carpet anymore. It's much more in the past, right? So let's see. So I will just act this out a little bit so we can find out. This is the fear?
Yes.
The black one is fear, huh? I don't know yet where that goes. So let's put in then your it's kind of interesting because you said it's further.
Yes.
So your grandmother would be actually here, and her mother would be here. When we look at the order, see? And before this, we have that. So we need to put in your great-grandmother as well. What color would you like for her?
A light pink.
Light pink, okay. So it's actually a long, long time that this happened. You know, in the Bible, they say murders can take 7 generations to clear. So we have several. It looks like here's one more. Okay. Okay, so this person definitely kills this one with a knife. I'm going to the red. Yeah, the red one definitely feels like a woman. So it feels like a man that killed a woman, overpowered her, killed her. So I will allow them to be seen by everyone. Can you see me here still?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. It actually feels that this person may be the mother of your great-grandmother. So we could put one more here. Oh, let me see. I actually think that this is who that is. So the fear is from this person. So we have your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, and her mother, who is murdered by man, possibly husband, I don't know, or outside. Yeah, when I'm here, I'm also very, very scared. So this person is angry and dangerous. And I think that I'm still a child, very, very scared of him. And yeah, I think someone killed this person, the mother of this person. So I don't think this person witnessed the murder, but they witnessed the violence. Like this person is very, very scary. The gray one, the perpetrator.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just feel like, yeah, it feels like a husband, because I feel like a child that hides, you know, while they're fighting and so on. I feel like a child that hides in the closet and tries to hide, you know. Wow, just a very, very angry person here. So what happened to them is the question always, like, what would make you so angry and out of control, right? Or so far away from love, because obviously they're related here. See, he changed now because I called attention to what made him be like this, right? So he comes down now, and I'm having a little bit of tears. A little bit, they're not coming yet. So I will put the event behind him, what made him this crazy, angry, and murderous. So I will use one color for that. Would you like to choose, or should I just choose?
You can choose.
Okay, I will just put out brown, because we don't know. I'm sorry about the sirens.
That's okay.
Oh, we are at 10 minutes, Klara.
Okay.
So you know.
Yeah, we are getting there. Thank you. And now it's my dogs screaming. I definitely feel some grief, and I feel that this is a person behind me. Usually on the right side is a father, but I feel that it is my mother on the right side. So, and I don't know my father, like I don't feel the presence of my father, but I feel my mother here.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I've had interesting father energy in my life and never met my biological father. And then my mom had a father, but he was very passive and very loving in some ways, but also very passive and allowed a lot of things to happen. Mm-hmm. After that, I don't know, but that's just interesting, like the absent father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is, yeah, definitely showing up here. So I will just allow him to, I'm like becoming now very tired and sore. So here I feel like a strong woman. I have to show up as both. And I may be harsh, you know, I may be maybe abusive as a woman, trying to raise my son. So, you know, we would have to like figure out like how many years back this was, right? So just think about the lifestyle back then. If a woman was alone, I think back in these generations, you know, the not having a father would be like really a bad thing. Well, you know, you would be discriminated, especially as a boy, not having a father, not being acknowledged. It's a big thing. So here's the mom trying to be both, and I think she works very hard. And it's also, I think she, you know, she can beat the kid trying to do her best. So I just want to acknowledge her for that. I really feel, you know, like tough woman, like really sturdy, muscular.
I know my grandmother was a tough woman. I mean, she was tiny, but she kind of had that fierce, tough way about her because she had to be.
Yeah, exactly. She had to be. And this one would so love to just, you know, and again, you know, this is universal. Like this woman would so love just to relax and be there for the boy, but she cannot because she has to work, she has to take care of him. And who knows what century this is, you know, and what the circumstances are. So she's just harsh and kind of cold, you know. But inside, of course, she has this, she would like to ease into that. And I'm getting there. Yeah, this may take a little longer to release all these emotions, like maybe 5 minutes is not going to do that. But I think this is the direction. Maybe I needed to show it. We have to honor this woman and probably all of these women that had to step up, right, in your whole lineage. Because the man not being present, and it started here. So yeah, I definitely feel like she would need something more to be able to cry and release the stress. And I don't think we have much time right now. But let me see, just like acknowledging how much it shifted him. Yeah, he definitely goes into the little boy with her that wants to be protected by his mother.
Another common theme of the child not being protected by the mother.
Yeah. Yeah, there's possibly more here, you know, that needs to be acknowledged for him. So he's definitely like in that position, you know, I'm your son, please mother, you know, you're my mother, I'm little and you're big. Oh, and just saying that, I just go like, because I want to make myself big, you know, like the violence and trying to make myself big, right?
Well, it's that conundrum of feeling the anger that comes up, but at the same time pushing it down because you want the love from that person as well.
Yeah. Yeah, also there's anger because he had to step up as a man for her, right? So even as a child already, there were probably projections, you know, expecting him to show up as a man. So he could not be a little boy. He had to be responsible right away. Okay, let me check on here if anything shifted here with the victim. Yeah, it also feels like we would need a little bit more time. So, you know, she's like, okay, you're working your thing out. That's good because then you're not abusing and beating me. And that allows me now also to be a little bit with my child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm not being attacked and abused, I can be more present with my child. Also, let's just do this. I think this is great because she's now giving love to her child. So now when she does that, now this one is able to give love to her child, to her daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we will just reconnect the line here. So then when I stand on this one, she can do it here to this one. So this would be your grandmother. Now standing on your grandmother, giving some love to your mother. Oh, yeah, I would like to cry here too. There is a lot of grief that has to be.
Yes, my mother has just begun to tap into.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a lifelong story, but I feel like in the last few years, she's just allowed herself to start to feel.
Yeah, it's also, it's also that this person is playing dead, right? So
Yeah.
she was, I think you said she was depressed too,
Yes.
right?
Yes, very
So
depressed.
why she was depressed because she was entangled with this one. So she was carrying the trauma that this one went through. So I will let them connect. Actually, when I was on this one, the very first time, she was looking at the green. So they are connected. So I just want to tell her, I see you. And I see that you have been abused, even murdered. And so the reason why I wasn't able to be present for my child was because my whole attention was here with this victim. This is now, do you understand why then it's possible that these children are not protected? Because the whole attention is in the past instead of in being in the present.
She was a little bit present with my mother's siblings, but when my mother came around much later, she was very, very removed and very depressed. Like, I don't even think she bought a crib for my mother. I think it was my mother's sister that got a crib for her.
Yeah.
And things like some very deep issues.
Yeah, so they give as much as they can. Everyone gives as much as they can, right? And then, yep. Okay, so it's important that you witness this as well. You know, this connection here, we acknowledge them. Let me see, how is it for your mom? Yeah, so when your mom sees that, she wants to, you know, lie down on her mom, right?
And be mothered, yes.
It's also like, it's more like attachment because I'm listening to her heart. Like, I want to feel her. I want to hear her heart. Yeah, lots of crying here.
Do lots of crying. So let me see, how is all this for you? Oh, okay. Oh. Of course, you actually want to go in the puddle as well, you know, and connect with both of them. With both of them. Yeah, it's like you want to connect with all these women. You have a big heart for all of them. And I think you said that even, right? Like you are the voice.
That's what I felt like when I did some work with Michael and Freya. Like, I just had this like vision of being the voice.
Yes.
And this is where it stops or something, but of standing up and allowing all these different voices to come through me.
Yes. So you just want to touch them all. But now I'm starting, this is where the trauma is starting now. So I will not go there all the way because it will take a long time to shake it. So I'm starting to shake here, holding them all. Oh, yeah, I think I have to leave it like this for a moment. Let me see. The fear. The fear is kind of a bridge between, which makes sense now, right? The fear is bridge between men and women. So you would think that it would keep you away, but actually it bridges them. It keeps him connected. Yeah, this is very, very good. All of you aligning here. So this person kind of like can deal with both because it's their father and their mother. So of course they will be the bridge, right? So this is, yeah, so if I don't know like which number, it was you, your mom, your grandma, another one, this one, and then this one, right? So this one is the bridge between them. Let me see, this is the piece. Okay. So when I see this union here, all these women connecting together, like really seeing each other, having compassion, feeling, you know, like coming together, gathering together.
Yes.
That's what will bring the peace. That's what will bring the peace. So the peace comes all the way here now. And also this one was a child when it witnessed the abuse. So the child, even this person's inner child, also had the abuse, right? So they have to be held. So it's like your inner child and that person's inner child, they both need love and attention, and women were not able to give it. That one wasn't because there was no man and it was really hard times. And all she knew how to parent was beating him up and expecting him to be her husband or behave as a husband. And so we have to look at her and acknowledge her, you know, like that must have been really, really hard because she was not able to live out her feminine side, the peace, the ebbing, you know, the intuitive, like there was no time because just go, constantly, you know, survival.
I mean, it sounds very much like my grandmother because she had to grow up too fast and it was just survive and make it work and go and do.
Yes. So we are going to bow to her, acknowledge her for that. We are going to embrace the inner children, of course, your inner child, this person's inner child, and even the perpetrator. In this case, one of your family members. Because if we take care of him, the other one has no room anymore. Do you understand?
Yes.
There's no hole, no dynamic to invite that in anymore. So thanks to him, you know, so it's great grandfather. Thanks to him, you are alive. Thanks to her sacrifice, you know, and him surviving, all of you are alive. And that needs to be acknowledged. And yeah, everyone seems to have paid a big price to be alive in this family lineage. And so it's, you know, we see you, Jessica, we see all of you women, and most of us women gathering today now will also hold space for this reunion and this compassion and reconnecting to each other, acknowledging each other, loving each other, allowing each other, you know. Yes, you know, many times they were not present, they were depressed, they couldn't protect. We know why, and we see them all, that they tried their very best with their tools that they had. How do you feel?
I feel a deep forgiveness for my mother for showing up and doing the best that she could, and a forgiveness for my grandmother because I was very angry at her as a child because my mom talked a lot about how she wasn't mothered and she wanted to be mothered more, and then Soup and I tried to mother my mother, and so for a long time I was angry at my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that now. Now I just feel
that's great.
A deep love.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, and so, you know, you see how the energy goes backwards into the past, and then we cannot be fully present and look into the future because all the energy, I'm still, see, like I'm looking to the past. So I will put this down. We did a lot of healing today, even though it was quick. And I will put you here. And I will let you turn the other way. And if you see that peace happened here in the past, then it's easier for you to step forward from, does it make sense?
Yes.
So it's easier for you step from piece to piece.
I feel like it's hard for me to leave all that behind. Like I have guilt for leaving that behind and turning away.
Absolutely. And I'm not really like stepping into it yet because this will need a little bit of time. And so I will send you also a picture of this so you can allow it. So take your time. Seriously, take your time with that. But it's a process and it is happening, right? And peace takes time, but it happens afterwards.
Yes.
Think about it. It's possible. Like it's important that you know it is possible even when it takes time.
I really do believe that. And for a long time I didn't, but I do believe that.
Mm-hmm. So I will take a picture for you.
Thank you.
And send it to you. I would like to leave it here. And I know I totally took more time. But this is a good start. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay, Freya. What should we do? Can we do another one and take more time, or should we?
Yes, let's do it.
It was fun. Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay with that? All right. Perfect. So I will close this one. Let me just clear the energy space a little bit. And thank you everyone for your participation and observing and holding space for this. And just keep them all in your loving thoughts. We'll include this lady. Just want to clear the energy a little bit. All right, I'm back. Any comments that we should react to, or are we ready for next?
I feel like we are ready.
Okay, great. All right, Elizabeth, are you ready? I will unmute you. Hello.
Hi, yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. How was this for you?
It was great. That was really interesting. I felt like it was healing for me as well.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so let's look at you and your dynamics. What would you like to look at today?
I guess you have to pick mother or father, right?
No, you don't have to pick them at all. I think we had for you, we had pain, and you.
Yeah.
Ideal partner, right?
Yes.
We can start there. You can just.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to tell people a little bit about the dynamic, or afterwards?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of sexual abuse, and generationally on my father's side, lots of grief on my mother's side. massive amounts of grief and guilt and shame, and pain everywhere. And very much, if I was to say there was one theme for my entire family, it would be secrecy. Let's pretend that whatever is happening isn't happening.
Yeah.
Whether it's sexual abuse or anything negative, like don't go near the vulnerable. Elephant in the room, everybody ignore it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Maybe ignore the ugly and only look at the pretty.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm ready. Like when I stand up, I'm more guided. So
What I'm feeling right now is that this healing is a healing that is going to be affecting the level of the collective. This is a pervasive thing.
yeah. Let's see. All right. We could actually put a secrecy in there as well. All right, Elizabeth, can you choose a color for yourself?
Is there like a cranberry reddish color there? That's kind of my
I
color.
just have one red, or I have this pink. Or this red.
And that pink is better.
Pink, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and where in the room would you be?
On the carpet, maybe toward the top.
There, in the middle?
Yep.
Okay. How about the pain?
The pain, my own or everyone's?
Everyone's.
Black.
Okay. Pain is black. And where does that go?
In the middle of the carpet.
Okay. I want to cry already about that. Oh my gosh, okay. I'm crying already. We didn't even start. Okay, the sexual abuse or abuse. Can you give me a color?
Red.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This will be a little shamanic here. Oh. Okay. Okay. Ideal partner.
How about that blue, the second one down under that goldish? Yeah.
Where's ideal partner?
On my right.
On the carpet or off the carpet?
On the carpet.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit closer to me, like touching.
Okay. I don't see them there. That's why I'm like, I actually feel them off already, but yeah, it's important you see it first, how you see it. Okay. Yeah, something is missing. We need your father in here. Could we use one for your father? Do you like this
Yeah.
one? Is blue okay? Or you want to do?
I think something less friendly, like maybe brown.
Okay. I think it's here. Yeah. So right away, he has been sexually abused. I feel it right away here. This is the sexual abuse, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this one actually wants to expand that way as well. I think this is his father. So which would be your grandfather, right? And the pain. Again, similar. It's in the past, so the pain is here. And it seems like here is one more in between. So I will just put one more, which would be great-grandfather, right?
Yes.
I put him here. So we had mothers, now we have fathers. Wow. It's actually so good for you. I can breathe better when I remove myself a little bit. So the distance is actually very nice now. And there's something else. There's something else. Right here. I feel like shaking. Actually, when I'm here. I feel like a person that's tortured, a man that is like, feel mostly from the red one. but these are involved as well. And I'm sweating. I'm super hot and sweating.
Is it male or female?
Male. This one is a male. I want to say towards that one, I think it's about mafia here, Elizabeth. I think that there were some kind of mafia ties. He seems like a kidnapped man that has been tortured. This is not from the family, but it's a victim of the family. And it's especially here with this one. So that would be, if this is...
Red is my grandfather. The one above it is my great-grandfather. The brown is my father.
Yeah, so it's over there. I want to say towards that one, you're a mafia. You're a powerful, yeah, you're a powerful mafia. And you tortured and killed me. Let me see, how is it for him? Wow, I'm like becoming totally like dizzy. He doesn't want to look at him. He's looking back again. He's looking back. And he's looking back at... I think he's looking back at his country. Again, you know, would be good to kind of like figure out what was going on. Like when you trace the generations, even though you don't have the information, but you can kind of like count approximately, okay, what was happening there. I think it's Italy. You said you are Italian. I think so. This guy was probably in Italy, and something in Italy that was happening that was, well, looks like hunger, you know, like no opportunities, hunger, like a Great Depression or something like that, similar. That's how it looks like. And so he's looking at that. So we will acknowledge that and give it some, you know, give it its place. So whatever happened there. So I will put this for Italy, or the events, like some kind of depression in Italy. And again, looking at him, the one that is pain, but it's also probably the one that caused pain. Well, he was in pain and he caused pain trying to survive, right? So if you only know pain, you will propagate pain when you're trying to survive.
Yes, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, and so this really feels more like country. You know, it doesn't feel like a person, it feels more like country. And it's a little bit, you know, kind of like, yeah, you did a good job kind of to him, you know? Which is kind of like the country kind of forces its men to survive and fight and cause more pain. I don't know exactly why, right? But it feels like the country embraces him. Like, you are my son, like I'm proud of you, right? Especially at this one, at that pain. is not as connected to the other ones. It's interesting. So I will just represent the country, and country is huge, right? And so now he is looking at his country, and again, in a way, like I don't feel his parents at all. It feels like he's an orphan. So the country is his mother in a way. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm. I don't know historically anything that far back.
Yeah, it feels like an orphan, whatever happened, maybe a disease, wiped them out, who knows? But he feels like an orphan, and the country here is the mother. And so he has to survive, and there is this pride, right? There's this pride, like a kind of like national pride and being the tough guy. And so when I embrace that, or when I step on it, so now I can actually go and look at the red one. So see, the red one, the grandfather was entangled with this one. Now they are facing each other, looking at each other. So it would be my great-grandson or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at him. And I'm kind of acknowledging him too, like, yeah, you're the man, like you're tough, you're the man, we are Italian, Not any Italian, the Italians that believe they rule, that they can go against all rules, that there's no law that could stop them. So we are looking at each other, and I'm making a little tough face, kind of like, I see you. So I'm going on his side now and see how he's with that. He actually goes in a position of a child, and there's a little bit idealization of this. It's like, wow, he's so powerful. Kind of like looking up, like my great-grandfather, that was a man, kind of looking up to him. But being smaller. And kind of missing that power, like, oh, he must have been powerful, It's like this idealization, like he was the king in the urban area or something like that. It's interesting because this one is now turning away. I don't know why. I will let them. And this is your father. And he's also stepping away. He's stepping further here. He wants to distance himself from there.
He did distance himself from them.
Yeah. So he's out of here. But he sees now like really, really far, like beyond his father. he sees the ancestor and the country. And I really see the country like in depression. Tough to survive. So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I see you. And I also want to say to the country especially, you are much bigger than me. You're much, much bigger than me. But I'm saying it to the country, not to the ancestor. I see the country. And I see now my father's idealization of that ancestor. And I want to say, so I'm realizing that the ancestor, you know, if he was an orphan and had to survive and fight on the streets, I see that. But also I'm telling my father, like, we are not in Italy. And the situation here was not the same. Which it may have, right? Because they did go through depression as well, right? Your grandfather would have gone through the depression. But something here is like, something is different here. I'm having a hard time to figure out like what it is. Like something in Italy and here is different. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, this is what's different. He didn't have any family that loved him. And actually your grandfather had a family that was disposed to love him, but he didn't allow them. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I need to put the family. Can you tell me really quick, like how many kids were there?
Like my father's siblings?
Yeah.
Like 6, 5 others.
5 others. Okay, so we will just put them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the wife, grandmother. Yeah. So the wife is taking on this person's feelings, right? Because there was a victim. Let me see. So here's him. So now, because your grandfather is trying to connect to him, so he's kind of like, he's not used to being touched, or, you know, it's like, don't touch me. So he is in trauma too. He doesn't want to be touched, like this, like closeness from him, just like, you know, he's frozen. He's not used to that. And now seeing the whole family too is just like, oh my God. Because it doesn't look like he had siblings even. So that's something new to him. But the person that he's close to is the victim. So I will put the victim here to him. Okay, now I'm willing to face them. And now I started to tremble. And I want to tell them I tortured and killed you. it reassured my position as being the boss or strong. Which I had to do because I had no family. I had to be strong on my own. And so now he realizes this is his family here.
And that's a family pattern because those siblings, half of them don't talk to each other. And I don't talk to my siblings, and it just goes on and on.
Yeah, exactly. So we will allow it here. And it will be similar. You will have to take some time to allow him to be seen and to be part. Again, none of you would be here without him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he survived, you were able to come to life. It's like shaking, 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 shaking. Yeah, for him, the most traumatizing is the human love. Isn't that amazing? Like when people actually love him is completely, you know, challenging his paradigm. Okay, so I let him here shake and do the trauma release. I actually will put a little tool there to help him with that, release the energy. Let me see here. So now we have this sibling. Okay, this one sees the father now. This one sees the father now. This one sees more of him. The black one. This one sees mother. Similar as we had before. He just wants to, or she, I don't know, just wants to lie down on mother and listen to her heart. And just cry and cry and cry.
And also protect her, take the beating instead. And more.
So that's this one. How about this one? Yeah, this one is also like smaller in a child position with the mother. Asking for her blessing. Yeah, so this one is asking for the blessing from the mom to, I think it's something like to allow them to have a place for their father, for his or her father, but not to carry that aggression and the sexual abuse.
My grandmother and grandfather split up, and the kids were forced to choose.
Oh, so that would make sense. Why it's somewhere like here and somewhere there, huh? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this one is asking for a blessing now also there from the father to please bless them so they don't have to carry on these energies. And by not carrying them on doesn't mean that I don't respect him as my father. And I think I'm speaking for your father as well now. Yeah, he likes to go to that position as well now. He sees the ancestor, right? And he is looking also at his father, and he's asking for a blessing so that he doesn't have to continue this, and that his lineage doesn't have to continue this. His grandchildren, right? Especially boy grandchildren, please give us a blessing so that this doesn't have to continue. And I also see my mother and how she was entangled with that victim, right? And so I want to tell them, I see you. And because you're a victim of the family, you actually belong as well. So I allow them now to be part as well. And see, they go straight to the perpetrator. Very often, you know, victim and perpetrator, they're connected. They merge as a family. So when there's finally the peace and they have been acknowledged and seen, okay, they play their parts, then they can go to rest in peace together. This is like perpetrators become parts of our families, guys, and also victims. The victims of our families, they become parts of our family system. It's a little bit different in wars because those are like collective. But in cases like this, they become part of the family. And that's why, like, you know, your grandmother had to suffer so much. And so the victim is now showing at her lovingly and telling her, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through the torture and abuse. And you have room in my heart forever. Thank you for seeing me and my pain. Oh, see, now he's standing on the pain, my pain. Which is also the perpetrator, right? Which is also the ancestor that has not had the family and feels the family for very first time in his life.
The victim was a victim of my grandfather or my great-grandfather?
It looks like great-grandfather. Yep. I think what happened is your grandfather took over the unresolved dynamics. So he took over the aggression while your grandmother took over the victimhood.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is your grandfather now. And now he's looking at Italy. And he's not so enamored anymore. He's more present here. And he's saying, you know, like living there, like all alone, I didn't know how blessed I was to have all of you. And I wasn't present with you. And I let the aggression and the love I felt for our ancestor who felt lonely, I let it take over me. And I see you now, and I would like to rest in peace with them as well. How is that for you, my dear, when you hear that?
I'm hopeful for that.
It may take time too, right? So, you know, the good thing is that this is on a recording. We are doing it a little bit faster than usual. but it needs time. So I'm going to take a picture of it as well and send it to you. And you may rewatch this again, you know, because it will take time to allow that. Remember, like the forgiveness and all that, it cannot be forced. It's like slowly, you just let these images and let the story that evolved today sink into your subconscious. So, but yeah, I am allowing him to go. It's okay for him to go, yeah. See, he's actually going underneath them. He was carrying them. You see that?
Yes.
He was carrying them. So he's going under. And I think your grandma can come as well. And we will all witness them and allow it. And you come here as well, and you bow to them and you acknowledge it was much bigger than you as a child could have ever resolved. And so you will leave it up to them to resolve it now on their own. It was much, much bigger. And you are just a grandchild here. So I'm bowing in front of them. And I'm asking them for blessing to leave all this now in peace. And I'm much smaller. They're bigger. And they can take care of it. I see it. I don't know if you can see it. Do you see it is much bigger and they can take care of it? You don't have to. You're just a grandchild. You're the smallest here in all of this.
Yes. Even with everything I carry, I feel like I have much more light than that entire pile.
Yeah. It's a lot actually that's coming from me. That's why I'm like staying here, because it's just like all this like weight and stress and all this, like I carried the world on my shoulders. So I'm letting them to take care of it now. It's like I don't need to be resolving big, huge world issues. Like I already did enough since childhood. I feel like now it's time for me to play, you know, like there's no difficult subjects like this anymore. I think I kind of like I did my duty already. I'm done. I came as an innocent angel, you know, and I was thrown into all these ancestral dynamics, and I was just like, okay, by this now, by this integration, my job is done. Like it's time for me to have some fun on Earth. It's just like, whew, okay, mission accomplished. Let's do something like completely new. And again, it may take you a while to be able to really like let go like that. But I feel now I'm here, and that's the past. And I came from that, and it was, I want to say like, it was fucking crazy. But it's not happening anymore. And I'm definitely, I'm looking for a person that is not deceitful. I had enough of that. I'm going to check on the ideal partner. He's coming here to witness this. He's also saying Italy is nothing like that anymore as it used to. I don't know why that is significant. Maybe you will have an Italian. Yeah, somehow I'm going through Italy to you. And I'm looking at you. How do you identify yourself? Like he's kind of saying like you're American. I see that you have like old like Italian roots, but he's telling you you're American.
Yes, I identify as American. I'm actually half Irish, half Italian. My mother's whole side was Irish.
Okay, so there's something important about that. You're American, and like this is a long past. It happened a long time ago. And now it's done. So no need to carry that anymore. Yeah, it really feels like you carry the burden. So you need to like imagine yourself, you know, like putting it down. Those were not your burdens. Again, remember, like the country, like those energies, much stronger, much bigger than you. And all these strong adults, you know, mafia and stuff, much bigger than you. So let them rest in peace and carry the consequences, you know, their own responsibilities. Time to be a child, because you may not have lived it out enough. I mean, child, like, not like childish, I mean like innocent, again, you know, like start again from the innocence. So I'm just telling him, I see you. And this was big. And I'm willing to let go of it now. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it here. How do you feel?
I feel good. I can feel a release. I definitely feel like it's only half the puzzle. Immediately, my mother's side comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, how about us?
Because it's just as intense over there, just in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But one at a time. Take your time. Again, be gentle, be loving. And then again, you guys, like, I just want to say that sometimes these traumas are so cellular that you know, experts that know how to release trauma from the body, like Freya and also her husband Michael. It's sometimes not sometimes, it's always very, very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the images for the mind and for the soul, but then we have to take care of the body too. So go in the nature, start with that, you know, salt baths, all that, smudging, all that kind of stuff will cleanse you. And if you need deeper cellular work, definitely that's something that Freya can help you with.
Yeah, it's so important. There's all the layers.
Thank
all
you
the
so
layers.
much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. And thank you, Jessica. So,
Well, thank you, Klara.
thank you.
Yeah, this has been amazing.
I'm so glad. Yeah, it was a little rushed, but I hope that, you know, by allowing it, maybe watching it again and allowing the time to, for all these energies to align, it will help. Will help. Oh, I wanted to cleanse the energy one more time with the sounds, just to have a closure with them for everyone. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Okay, Freya, I'm sorry, we did go over time big times, like, yeah.
We did, but that's okay. It's all perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. So anything else that we need to mention to close? Did anyone ask anything or?
There weren't really like specific questions. I think that anybody who was watching just was taking it in, and it's beautiful, and others will watch it when they get a chance. And I thank you. And it's so important to piece the pieces of the puzzle together, and through this kind of work, it's just so beautiful, and people can get these bits of information that create such a deep realization that allows them to then take the next step and to shift even more, and such deep healing occurs. So thank you.
We are all healers. Like, I want to remind you that all of us participating today or watching, we are all healing the collective consciousness.
Yes.
We are evolving as humanity. We are becoming better people, less violent. Even though, you know, many of us are still dealing with this, but just as these two women today, like, they have worked on themselves so much already. They are so strong, and they are leaders doing, you know, helping other women. And just by showing up today, this is going to serve many. So we are in this together with all these different modalities, and I'm glad that I could support the group a little bit. I love the group. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And maybe if anybody has like any particular questions, they could post them in the comments below the Facebook live recording. And either of us, whichever the question's appropriate to, or both, can pop in with some kind of answer. Yeah.
Yes. Someone said, Jessica, yes, the deep realization, stop the self-limiting belief. Help me see things through a different lens. Yes, it's really about that, just shifting perspective, and that will create a new reality, not just for you, for everyone.
Yes.
That's what we are doing together. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Lots of love. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, dear.